SFCL. And as Corbeck said, we are getting into the later half of the night. And I am Light Rose. Joining me is Sirius. And before us on the docket, the third match is going to be Ex-Wichita Wolves versus Team Mystic.
Yeah, yeah, just going towards a little bit of our lower bracket match just for this quick moment. These two teams lost their first opening matches, so it's going to be a bit interesting just going to see how they kind of bounce back from their first match. And obviously, those were pretty tough losses. Wichita Wolves lost a really close one against Make-A-Wish, and then Mystic lost against Aerial Rise Academy. Can't really say too much else.
It wasn't exactly a beatdown. There were just a lot of rounds where Mystic just kind of let Aerial Rise Academy just get away from them and then just couldn't find their way back. But yeah, like you mentioned, Ex-Wichita Wolves 7-8 loss. It was an excruciating one. Unfortunately, one of these teams is going to be going down to potential elimination. We'll get a look at the players on the teams right now, but yeah, elimination is kind of in play so far. It's not, there's not a threat, but it's still there.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to go down 0-2 real fast, like to start off with. That's not a very good thing to kind of go into the season with. But I mean, both of these teams honestly have potential to bounce back, even if they lose after this. It's like they still have potential to make playoffs. I have full confidence in that. It's just unfortunate that they meet so early on in our season that that's a now possibility. So, but here we have our rosters: Ex-Wichita Wolves, consisting of JJ Blast, Kiru, Bino, Riot, and Bry. Team Mystic consisting of Kirk, Aimkey, Spider, Skunky, and Big Guy. But bunch of names we've all seen before, especially here in Solar Flare. So good to see them once more.
Yeah, that Team Mystic has definitely been kind of clubbing around with each other for a long time. There's been a couple players that have gone in and out, but I think the core set of the roster has been pretty consistent overall, and especially when they've gone to a lot of variety of different maps, which we can talk about right now, going through these two teams. We saw Mystic play on Chalet, and then we saw Ex-Wichita Wolves on Villa. And right now, Chalet is not in play, but Villa is still potentially there. We could go back.
Yeah, it's certainly a possibility. Actually, no, it's not. It has now been banned out by Mystic, not wanting to let that map go through. Both of these teams just banning the last maps that the other team played, and we're actually going to go to Cafe of all maps. That is interesting because I have that more of a middle of the road kind of map for both of these teams. I would definitely say it's a good bounce back map for both of these teams. It doesn't really favor either one too much. It's just kind of like a good neutral ground.
It's there, but I think that's a good thing for both of these teams because we need to get a good head start. We have Ex-Wichita Wolves on the defense, Mystic on the attack, and something about Ex-Wichita Wolves game was that they were down 5-2 and then started storming a comeback. I believe it was on their attack in the second half, so definitely need to keep an eye out for them as Mystic, they get to start on the attack, a time where they struggled a little bit more versus Aerial Rise Academy. So I think both of these two teams maybe not starting on their preferred side.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an interesting kind of decision. I'm pretty sure it was Wichita Wolves who decided to go on to defense. I'm not entirely too certain about that. But it is interesting that you mentioned that both of these teams starting on the sides that they did not do so well on the previous series. And again, Team Mystic only won 3 rounds in total, so it can't really say they did too well overall, but still, the attack was definitely the worst side out of that entire affair. But we are going to get into our bans first things first, and Dokubi is going to be the first ban off the board, followed up quickly by a Ying.
Yeah, pretty typical. There's not go-tos on Cafe, and I think Ying, you want to make sure that that first and third floor attack just get a little bit harder. It's a little bit less chaotic for the defenders that are actually hanging out on site. But the defending bans are usually the ones you have to take a little bit more seriously. Azami, Mira, Valkyrie, Kaid, those are all bannable operators that make a substantial difference on how a team can play a map. Mystic is going to go for Azami, which isn't too surprising because she can reconstruct some things, especially on that third floor bomb site, with the second ban being Valkyrie. So Mira and Kaid are in play, meaning that that first floor bomb site of Kitchen, Kaid can make that a nightmare for the attack.
Yeah, but Thatcher is still on the board, so he can easily get around the Kaid if they don't just kind of put it in even more tricky spots. I think usually nowadays they can just about every position those Kaid claws are in, so it's not as big of a deal if they do bring him out. Not going to see him just yet, but it is interesting to keep that in mind for later on if we do see Kaid come on the board. But I am more interested to see if we do get a Mira on the board later on in the game, because she is such a crucial operator, especially on this top floor defense. She can pretty much lock down all the piano and make sure that nobody can actually go down the long bar area. It basically forces teams to go onto a cocktail attack, essentially, and just kind of makes you have to go completely around the other side of the map. And that just makes it a bit more awkward because there's not as many like areas you can walk around to kind of set things up for it execute.
Yeah, but there's also other operators that you can bring. Clearly, Ex-Wichita Wolves, they don't want to snaggle with their strategies. They've got their core set 5 that they have up on this 3rd floor, and they don't want to touch that in the slightest. It's still going to be difficult to try to take Cigar. You have probably Mute holding inside of Cigar's shop, and then there's going to be 80 yeses, all kinds of things by Pixel. So it is going to take a lot from Team Mystic to actually break that barricade. I wonder if the Clutch Drone from Kirk will have a play, or if it'll just go for the basic default cams that we always see Brava Clutch Drones go for.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be interested to see how that turns out, but JJ Blast actually getting the first kill onto Aimkey. That was the lurking Nook all the way down below in Kitchen, so that's just going to be, unfortunately, the first pick going against the side of Mystic. He is going to be hunted down by the bug of Spider, but he is getting a little bit paranoid that he's also being hunted down. He does have a little bit of help from his teammate Abrai, so he could get out of the situation if he does have help, but it seems that Mystic do know exactly where JJ is.
Cornered. There's so many orange bodies around him, but still alive and still inside a freezer. Mystic have not rooted this player out. And if Buck actually went a little bit farther in white, maybe there would have been another death, and it actually is Skunky outside of that little door. Luckily, Spider is there to get a nice 2K, evening the man count and making things a little bit better for Team Mystic, as they have to realize that they have cleared out that 1st floor, but they have to focus their efforts to that 3rd floor, far away from where they found the roamers.
Yeah, but now they've lost all that utility that they could have had to clear out Cigar a lot easier. And Spider on such a low HP, he only needs a couple more shots to actually just get downed or just killed outright. And unfortunately, they only minute 20 left, and that does not a lot of time to deal with that Cigar's defensive setup. They're just gonna have to find other ways to kind of just explore this bomb site and try to hopefully find a way in. Just not a great look if you're on Team Mystic, unfortunately. Even though it is even, it does favor Wichita Wolves just a little bit more.
Spider has to be careful breaking open this floor. Not on great manner of health. Means that if essentially Riot or anybody just looks down, they take him out. Easiest pie, and Mystic gaining underappreciated death as we reach that 3rd stage of the round, the execution phase. It's going to be up to the attack to actually try to pressure that top floor. Kier walks down the white stairs, but doesn't see anybody just yet. It's the persistent threat that is really the important thing here. As we are reaching climax time of the round, a kill has to happen for Team Mystic, and unfortunately for them, it's just a death. Dude is gonna get peeked, taken out, and Kirk fires onto Bino inside of Cigar Shop, takes him out, but with no diffuser. Not great optics on any of the other Ex-Wichita players. It's safe to say that this round is a wrap, and Riot will put the finishing touch on that one there.
I mean, and that just really comes down to the failed clear of JJ all the way down in the basement. Just, they wasted so much time and so much manpower is lost due to them just kind of losing 2 bodies for it. Yes, they did get 2 men back, but at that point, Buck just cleared out all of Cocktail, but nobody was there for Mystic to actually help clear it all out. Those players were forced out of their positions, but then nobody was there to help kill them as they tried to reposition. And that just comes down to those 2 bodies that were lost so early on in that round. So you just really need to make sure that you have all 5 men up if you're trying to go for that kind of attack. And just unfortunately, didn't have enough pressure to deal with it.
It was the time as well that they took to deal with those players on the 1st floor. Is it was about a minute 15. They had to focus their efforts up to the third floor. Just didn't do it with enough speed. As Ex-Wichita Wolves, they realized that maybe the kitchen isn't gonna be their best site, and they actually do mining and dining, which is not the preferred site. I think reading is definitely, the one teams really prefer to go towards. So something different from this team that I am definitely not going to say that it is a poor decision, because we haven't seen this team play this site, and they of course have a plan as always.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting pick. It has gained a lot more popularity as of late. Still interested to see how it kind of plays out for the rest of this round. Forget how much it's actually been played in Pro League in terms of just a comparison. But it does seem that Mystic is still just going to be trying to see if they can maybe go down below first and then just kind of work their way on up like they did last time. This seems to be what Dude, the big guy, is actually going to try to work his way up. Aimkey's already got a head start on him, already taking control of this red hallway, working his way over to Whiskey Bar. They have first floor control all in their favor, but what can they really do with this? There's not really many opportunities to nade from below at this point.
Oh no, Spider gets run out on by JJ, and trying to create a measure of getting out. They shut down Skunky, a little bit of their health, but there is Aimkey to get the finish, and that is that. Being outside as a defender, attackers can track your every move, but if JJ was able to find Skunky, things would have been looking very bad for Team Mystic. Already losing Spider, you get the trade onto JJ. Things have settled down for now. You still have to find one little frag to actually net yourself an advantage.
Relatively even trade, but Mystic just only has taken control of the bottom floor and not really done much with it. Like I mentioned, they haven't really tried to go for some of these nades below. That's all they've really done. They've tried to clear out Brown and so more red stairs. That's really all their control they have. I think that you saw one player is still on the top floor hatch. It would seem that Kirk is still upstairs, but he's not really doing much of anything to help his team kind of clear out of these positions. Wichita Wolves are just sitting on site and just sitting around to try to help support and just hold on to this for as long as they can, not having to do much to hold on to this.
Big guy. There's a head right above their crosshair, but Team Mystic do get that advantage that they were looking for. They find it, and Riot getting close to another one as Kiru is barely staying alive on the bar. Aimkey is going to be able to hit the shots. It's 3 for him on this round, and now Ex-Wichita Wolves have to find their salvation in one of these two players, Bry and Bino. One inside of the site and one a little bit off of it, over by Laundry, as Team Mystic has his name. Pushes out Laundry, and Kirk immediately meets him right there. Drone is going to spot the position of Bino, so not many chances, but Bino does take out that first player. A flash fully blinds him, and as he prones inside of that little train canister, yeah, you didn't see really much of a chance for him there as Team Mystic. They do bounce back, and now you could really say maybe that wasn't such a good idea.
Yeah, it didn't really seem like they just got a little bit separated out from each other at that point. Wichita Wolves were just so spread out around the map, just kind of wondering, hey, where's Mystic actually going? We're kind of just hearing all these noises downstairs and just a little bit up as well. Where are they coming from? And I think just in that little bit of confusion, they kind of spread themselves a little bit too thin and couldn't really help each other when Mystic finally started to actually move onto the bomb site and actually start picking off all these little stragglers. Just unfortunately got a little bit too antsy in that little bit last few minutes of the round. That kind of cost them towards the end. But still, much better bounce back from Team Mystic after that first round debacle.
A lot of that comes down to the fact that JJ did get that entry, but there just wasn't great positioning coming out from the rest of Wolves that could really help them out. Team Mystic had a lot of really good trades coming out, and that is something that they had against Aerial Rise Academy. Their trades were stellar, but the problem is that they were always just a step behind. They were never the one to initiate the kills. They were always the one having to trade out, and therefore they always ended up at a disadvantage in man count. And then, well, it was a 7-3 that they went down against them. So hopefully with Mystic already getting 1/3 of the rounds that they did, and right now half of the rounds that the orange side has gotten today, a 7-0 and a 7-2, things haven't been looking good for the orange side, but Mystic seems like they're looking to change that.
Only the third round won by them. That is such a crazy, crazy little fact we have just given you. So hopefully now that means Mystic can actually break the Orange's curse and actually win a couple more rounds rather than just one. Still, gonna be a little bit slow to start. 30 seconds already gone, and they're just kind of starting to poke at this kind of lobby area. Trying to see if they can maybe go into coat check, but Wichita Wolves already kind of prepped for this. They've sent 2 bodies over to try to deal with this pressure. Yuri Chan Inky actually gets the first pick onto JJ for finally shutting him down, no longer letting him get the first kill. That's going to be a good start, especially since he's been the most aggressive for the Wolves so far in this series. But it does seem that Mystic are still trying to explore their options. They're just letting Wolves kind of just make their own mistakes.
Riot is spotted out as there hasn't been an equalizer from Ex-Wichita Wolves. That still is not going to be a thing. Riot goes down, and Riot, unfortunately, the damage from that 9mm SMG isn't really what he wants. And Mystic now looking to take the lead, a 5v2. Very favorable from them. And the map control that Ex-Wichita Wolves has doesn't exactly help them in their situation. Kiro emerges from Harry Potter, takes out Kurt. As you do see Mystic emerging from that freezer area, trying to get inside the site and trying to provide a really good pinch, but they can't do right now. Has a good angle and goes off of it right as the Team Mystic player goes into their crosshair. There's a lot of time for the defense to run around the map, but Mystic are going to force their hand, put that diffuser down, and try to get the aggression on this defense. Hero on the white stairs has to complete a 1v4, but walking down the white stairs, they get gunned down by Aim Key, and now you can see they're really starting to pick up some steam, but that has to be replicated now on that bar site.
And I think that really came down to shutting down the early aggression coming out from JJ. He's been such a big nuisance for them in these early rounds, and finally being able to get the first pick onto him really set the momentum of that entire round. Instead of having to slug their way through it and just be like, oh, well, we got to get the refrag and then just kind of go from there. They finally said, okay, well, we'll kill him first and then just move on to the rest. That's been pretty easy pickings when we actually get a good groundwork. So they finally did that and just started to once again just let Wichita Wolves make their own mistakes, just let them over aggress onto them. And then just from there, it was just easy pickings. It was a pretty simple round. Not really much for Mystic to really do other than just kill the few gunners and then just work their way onto the bomb site and plant.
Alright, so last time I was trying to assess what Team Mystic would do when it came to this third floor bomb. What do you think was the problem here that allowed Ex-Wichita Wolves to kind of grab that first round?
Well, one, it came down to JJ and the Warden on White Stairs. I forget who was playing it at the time, but them getting 2 picks on the bottom floor, and especially on very important operators, made it really difficult later on in the round to actually get some steam when Buck was trying to clear out Cocktail. Like I mentioned, there was not enough people trying to hold that down, so when they started to reposition, there wasn't enough people to actually watch that and just get a couple more frags to make it easier to walk onto the bomb site. From there, Wichita Wolves just had to kind of hold still, just kind of play it safe, and just let Mystic kind of swing in and just essentially get the frags from there. So if they can start to get that roam clear a little bit cleaner this round, I think they'll have a better shot.
Roaming seeming to be an important thing for Ex-Wichita Wolves. They do have Bry and JJ, especially with the mute jammers that JJ is putting in this reading room area. Hunkering down seems to be the MO. As Bry spots the phone from underneath, and that is probably going to be called. You can see that with that scan, everybody is going to see the exact location. As Kirk sends a clutch drone down, does go for the default, and that thing will be hacked. So now that cam is unusable for the defense. Is it going to be shot out? So for now, it's a free flank cam for the attack. Maybe it'll spot somebody in freezer, maybe it'll spot the player in Cocktail. We'll have to see as the round goes on, as right now Mystic haven't really aggressed on the roamers, and as we saw from that first round, that could really come to hurt them by the end.
Yeah, but it's still relatively even affair if they can clear out reading and library. Buck could actually start to go below and actually start to clear out Cocktail, make it easier for a Cocktail plant. Inky's going to have to be the first sword to try to clear out that area. Does seem that they have given up that position, so if Spider does rotate on over, they can start to work on that Cocktail floor. This could make it easier for Team Mystic, even though they wasted 2 minutes. Could set up an easy plant for them if Skunk can actually get enough room.
Oh, Ex-Wichita actually vacating the area. Still a lot of time on the clock, but that does mean that they can fill a lot of holes. For instance, Cigar Shop. You holding Cigar Shop with a shotgun is a dangerous position to go up against attack if you are not properly prepared. Down goes Bright. Another opening kill from Team Mystic, and they're just taking bullets left, right, and center. The Mystic Brigade is making its way onto the site. JJ does find a refrag in the hands of Aimkey, but it's really not the comfort level that they would want for this situation.
No, we have to see Riot just playing in such an awkward spot. He's getting actively hunted down by the Buck from below. He could be easily killed in the next couple of seconds if they just kind of coordinates onto this push, but Kiru actually gets the next kill onto Skunk. That's just essentially going to be the round done. Diffuser's outside, and all they have to do is just clean up the rest as they just hop on in. That makes it easily equalizer round for Wichita Wolves.
You saw Riot get a 3K at the end there. It kind of felt like, whatever, 3K, but it's an important 3K that it solidifies that round. The second round for Ex-Wichita Wolves, but they have to go back to the previous sets that they did. And none of them were really that good, and they're still going to try mining. There's something about reading that this team just tends to avoid, and you'd have to think that they have to hold that top floor a lot more strength that they did in the previous one, or just not be easy pickings for Team Mystic. Either way, there's going to have to be some change for Ex-Wichita Wolves. Otherwise, it should be the lead taken aback by Mystic.
Yeah, it's just got to really play a lot more together than they did the last time that we saw them on this bomb site. We saw them get a little separated out and just made it super easy for Team Mystic to kind of just play refrags on each other and just essentially just clear up any of the roamers and then move on to the last player of the bomb site. That was just such an easy round for them. I can't remember if it was a flawless round or if it was like pretty close.
Last time we went to mining?
Yeah, last time we went to mining. I don't think it was.
It was a 1v4, and there were 3 players left.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was not, it was definitely not a good round. It was pretty decisive for Mystic when last time we saw them here. But if they can start to actually hold on to this top floor like you mentioned and hold on to it for a lot longer, just give Team Mystic a lot less avenues, it makes it's much easier to hold on to this.
A lot of blue bodies up on that 3rd floor, but a lot of them hanging around the site. Nobody is going to be playing in Fireplace because that would be a death sentence. That's not a very covered site that you can really hunker down and be a bash inside. Usually you're going to have teams play inside of reading, play inside of mining, because the attack just has to work a little bit more to actually find them out. See another clutch drone, who will hack that default and go right back down and spots that lesion. So a 2-for-1 information special on the attack, and now that clutch drone does get shot, but the information is there, and that default cam is hacked, so Brava's job might be done at this rate.
Well, now they're going to have a lot better idea of what's going on the top floor. Inky's just going to be flirting with the idea of walking his way up white. Gonna have to see if there's a goo mine actually standing in his way. There he goes. He's going to start to work his way up. He has a drone ahead of him. Does he know that Bry's actually in the laundry closet? It's just going to have to wait a couple more seconds. Just a little bit of an antsy period. Half the round gone. Not much action's gone down.
Yeah, this period of silence has to be broken somehow. And Inky was ready for the kill, but Bry was there, just pushed a little bit too far up and got punished for it. So now there's not a lot of coverage on white stairs for Team Mystic. They had the opening kill in a lot of these rounds, but now they've gone down, and losing this round would be a little bit of a blow to their ego. Down goes Big Guy, and if Spider cannot get this kill onto JJ by Pillar, you might as well solidify this round for Ex-Wichita Wolves. It is going to be a little bit of a frag fest, as Ex-Wichita Wolves still does have the advantage for the time being. As Kirk walks inside of sights, doesn't get the kill onto Brian, picks up the diffuser. Will he put it down, or will he wait from the coverage from Spider? Does the former. Gets halfway done and now has to be the one to finish the job in this round. 45 seconds, gets shot, but is able to get out the window. Good coverage, but as he goes to his left, there is Kiru. That Cam RS does a lot of damage, but you gotta hit your shots. It is a wildly thing. As here does prep the window, tries to bait Kirk in a little bit of a run. And we do see the Cam RS go out, and now just getting a little bit of that BM. Kiro has so much time to counter defuse, and he will as Ex-Wichita Wolves. They make it a lot closer of a round, and they actually steal this one away from Mystic.
Yeah, and like I said, they just played a lot more of those trade games. Bry was super ready to just defend his teammate in reading and just got that kill onto the lurking aim key of that Nook, and just made it so much easier for them to hold onto those defensive positions that we did not see them do that previous time we were on that bomb site. What does wonders when you have to actually just work with your team and say, hey, I'm going to help you hold this down and make sure that nobody is going to get you out of this position, and we can just hold on to the bomb site. And from there, all they had to do was just play trades in that final moment, like we just saw again. Just had to hop out as soon as he just kind of baits his team with just a little bit and just get that defuse.
Well, you do have the ability to bait in that situation. It is a risky thing, immensely risky, to try to go for a bait such as that, but it forces the hand of your opponent, because you have to shoot the player defusing. You also have to kill the player that's going to hop out the window. The timing can be absolutely messed up, and then the round is essentially forfeit. But if you get it right, just like that, Ex-Wichita Wolves did it right, won the round, and it doesn't even matter if you're like, wow, you baited your teammate. It's a round win. That's what matters. We can throw around slanderous accusations, true or not. They still won the round.
Yeah, a win is a win. A win is a win. You'll take whatever you can get. Yeah, you'll take those. We are actually going to see Reading not opting to go back down to Kitchen, realizing that didn't really work out too well last time we were on that bomb site. So just going to go mix things up, go to more typical rotation. Mining being a little bit of the exception. Is he actually? No, he's not actually. I peeked that. Just gonna see Skunk.
Instilling the fear. But instilling the fear of a potential spark.
Yeah.
Even though nobody's there, you see Team Mystic. They're watching it, keeping their eyes on it, wasting 10 extra seconds. That's 10 seconds that maybe could be used later in the round.
Yeah. Mystic have been wasting a lot of time, at least in the early game, just kind of trying to see what intel they can get. It seems they're almost playing a little bit timid of just how aggressive Wichita Wolves are playing. JJ especially just getting so active early in the rounds. Just have to wonder what Team Mystic is going on inside their comms. Just like, okay, are we just going to play it slow, just kind of let aggression kind of take over? Or are we just going to play it more passive and just kind of let intel rule the game? Seems that they're going to be going with the latter. And they're just very paranoid about some of these later flanks as they're setting up those flank cams.
All right, busting open that cigar wall. That means that we're going to have that air jab deployed, even though the bulletproof is immensely watching them. A frag grenade is going to be lobbed on over. It should blow that up. And now there is no information for Ex-Wichita Wolves to use. The Team Mystic, they're kind of changing their strategy here, putting some of their attack on Cigar, trying to take out the top floor, but also adjusting towards that middle floor, attacking a lot of pressure at the same time, forcing Ex-Wichita Wolves to divert some of their resources. And you can see Big Guy and Anki are right outside of the site. They get the kill on the player hiding just behind that wall. This round changes completely.
Yeah, but they got to be careful of those three players on the top floor. If they kind of let them walk right on through, that could spell disaster for them when they try to go plant. Rye does get the first kill onto Spider. That was the flanking operator upstairs. That could spell disaster if they're not watching that carefully, but Skunks actually swings on in, gets super deep. He can actually go for a plant now if somebody's there to cover.
Yeah, I don't think there is coverage from the defense. But you can see, not actually wanting to plant, there might not be the coverage for the attack either. It's really just aim key inside of Train. You know he is going to be able to get one, and Bride hopping on down. He is on a roll in this match. Finds another. It's a 3v2. As JJ is down, could potentially be revived, and a good shot there from Aimkey makes it a 2v2, but Bride should be able to get the revive. Skunk tries to get down that diffuser. It seems that the revive is not worth it. Down goes one, and down goes another. It's Ex-Wichita Wolves. They finish off the half with a nice 4-2 for themselves, and now it's Mystic to put up the same amount of fighting words on their defense.
And I don't know if you noticed there, but the Mystic once again wasted so much time, left themselves only a minute on the board to actually go onto the bomb site. Skunks was essentially just alone for 30 seconds in the bomb site, just saying, "Hey guys, I need some cover. Where's all my guns? I can't get this plant down without it." And then just nobody was there to really help it because they didn't really set up very well to hold on to the top floor. Like I mentioned, just that mute holding on to the castle, sorry, was holding on to the piano hatch and just made it to where nobody could hold on to Train to cover him. Just made it so difficult for Skunks to actually get that plant down, and by that time, it was time to actually get it down with 4 seconds. All Castle has to do is just drop down and shoot him as he's planting. That's the round over. Just not enough time being spent to actually set up for that execute, and it cost them.
Mystic on their defense, bringing out that mirror that we didn't see Ex-Wichita Wolves bring out, and maybe up on that third floor. It seems like they didn't even need it. They just had everything they wanted, and sometimes not bringing in that usual band operator is sometimes the best because it does force you to change up your strategies just a little bit. But Mira has been inconsistent with fans, so you can still practice with her due to the amount of times you might get to play her on a cafe side. And we're seeing that Skunks is going to be hopping on here towards that skylight side, using the black mirror towards that cigar side. And if Ex-Wichita Wolves don't play their cards right, use their frags well, as Bino goes down, half of their frags get taken out with that kill. That mirror grows in power.
Yeah, that's just going to be unfortunate because now there's less utility to actually clear out those mirror positions like you were just mentioning. So unfortunately, they're going to have to find alternative means to clear out that spot. They are going to have to deal with one more roamer, a big guy down in Train. Not sure if he has much help in terms of just another roamer. Actually, Kirk all the way in Reading. It did get into a gunfight with, it looked like Bry all the way in Laundry. Just kind of seems that Mystic is trying to regroup for a second, just try to see where he went. Not sure they actually had the full intel. Skunks is looking more towards white, it seems.
The drone will indicate that there is a player inside of Reading. The push just happened from Bry and takes Kirk out, making it a 4v4. And now Ex-Wichita Wolves, the attack, they can potentially start to shift their attack to the third floor, but do they know that God, dude, is still inside of this trainer? And they sure do know now, as 4 are going for the clear, and the SFG11 is a little too wild for this mute, but Skunky takes that opportunity, walks down the white stairs, and equalizes us at 3-3. Mystic have been playing their trades well, like I mentioned they did. Up against Aerial Arise Academy, they've been a little behind on their trades, and it seems that that is once again happening, and they have to get the lead out here. They have to get that man count advantage.
Yeah, now they're just gonna, Wichita Wolves are just gonna have to focus on this white stairs push, because that's really all the areas they can cover. They haven't cleared out any of Cigar, so Spider or Inky actually is just gonna have to hold that down and just make sure nobody tries to walk up red. But right now it seems that Wichita Wolves is going to be focusing more on clearing out white itself. So Kiro is actually going to swing up and get slammed. Skunks and Anki, he opens up the entire push onto Cocktail and finishes up the round all by himself, making sure that Wichita Wolves get another round win, making it 5-2.
Ooh, the little celebratory wiggle that you do, and it's like, oh my god, I just hit a clip. I just did something really cool. And honestly, for Kiro, that was pretty cool play. Just saying, you know what? Screw it. Let's just walk up White Stairs, not do what Team Mystic was doing, and waste a lot of time, and it worked out. You can see one peeking after the other. There is that third, and Kuro even had that trait, because one of those players who actually get the kill behind them was Rush. So everybody had everybody's back in that situation. And that was something that Ex-Wichita Wolves actually struggled with in their game up against As You Wish, but it seems that they're starting to amend that. Or at least up against Team Mystic. That's not a problem that they're having.
Yeah, it just, for some reason, Team Mystic throughout that round just kind of was a little sloppy on the trade game overall. I mean, it seemed that Kirk was just kind of by himself, even though Skunks was holding down White with him. He just wasn't holding it very actively and just allowed Bry to actually swing out onto him, and by then, Big Guy was just stuck on an island, nobody to help him out. So just a little bit of just kind of improper teamwork coming out from Team Mystic, kind of set up Wichita Wolves kind of just going away with that round, even though it was close. Just a little bit of separation just made it so easy for Wichita Wolves to clean that up, especially Kiru.
Same little spawn peek trick. Put some fear into your opponents. That always happens on Cafe. We had a window simulator that was consulate, and Cafe kinda took its place. It's not the same, but there are still a lot of windows that can be utilized, run out on, which is why you will see a lot of Nomad be played on this map, a lot of Claymores be utilized, because to hop out, you don't hit your shots, you are gonna be blasted, bounced, whatever, and taken out. An inherent risk that comes with playing the windows on Cafe, but you can get some oh so precious rewards.
You just mentioned console gave me a little bit of nightmares from when I had to play that competitively. I mean, we had some nice rushes on it, but I can't wait actually for that rework whenever that's coming out. But regardless, Team Mystic essentially just waiting out Wichita Wolves once again, setting up very much half this round just to make sure they hold on to red completely, not allowing Mystic to try to go for that flank onto them later on in the round. We'll have to see if that setup pays dues later on. Spider looking through some of these holes to maybe see if he can get a pick. Nobody's there to really find. Just gonna have to fall back a little bit because they do know exactly where he is now.
Everybody on Ex-Wichita Wolves, it's either Cigar, it's Red Stairs, or it's that window. That is the cluster that this attack is coming from. But Kira has a suspicion that a player is in the red hallway, and their suspicions will be confirmed. It's Skunky Tiki taking out the player that really got that last round for Ex-Wichita Wolves. The Spider now focuses on that hatch, and Bry is going to peek, does take out that player just roaming behind the train container. As we get a 4v4, you see Ex-Wichita Wolves, they are utilizing that 45 seconds that they have, getting oh so close to the site. One more kill should really be all they need to confirm that, yeah, the attack is ready to go, but it's not happening. The kill is not appearing, and Team Mystic have those smoke canisters. They have what they need to potentially stop this execution, but here goes Ex-Wichita Wolves. They focus over towards reading, break open this reinforced wall, and that's another area of contention that Ex-Wichita Wolves can come from. Another kill happens on the side of Brian. We're halfway done through that diffuser being put down, and nobody on Mystic can do anything about it. Down goes JJ, and Kirk and Skinky try to stop the onslaught of blue and stop the potential overtime match point from happening. They cannot do that, and Ex-Wichita Wolves, they get to map match point, and it seems that the curse of the orange side continues.
Only 4 rounds won, and honestly, in that entire round, Wichita Wolves did almost the exact same thing that we saw Mystic do on their own attempt at attacking that bomb site, but they did it so much better. They held onto the top floor. They even got a little bit more aggressive, making sure that nobody can actually go through that, watch that piano hatch. Just a little bit of aggression just makes it to where it's so much easier to open up some more space onto the bomb site, and that just facilitates an easier plant, especially when you have your rest of your guns in place to actually help cover. Mystic floundered on that opportunity and could not facilitate a plant for Skunks to actually get a plant down. So Wichita Wolves taking notes from Mystic, but just executing it so much faster.
I'm struggling to understand how things are going that bad for Mystic right now in both of their games. Early Rise Academy is a deadly team to deal with. Ex-Wichita Wolves are a scary team, but it feels like with the amount of experience and skill that is on this Mystic team, they should be doing more. They should have at least more than 2 runs. I mean, a 7-4 loss, I guess, is okay. But going down potentially 7-3 or 7-2 in both your matches, it doesn't bode well when it comes to confidence in your team. You have to wonder whether or not that Mystic is having a little bit of struggles here, but the match is not over. They still have a chance to win this one. Come back 4 rounds in a row. Hell, Ex-Wichita Wolves were close to doing it in the previous match, so still potentially have a lot of siege before us, but have to wait.
Yeah, can't count out, especially Team Mystic. Such a formidable roster, just not really showing up today. Just seems like they have the right ideas, but just not the right way of executing it. And just unfortunately, it's not really paying out too well. Wichita Wolves looking to kind of go for a top floor clear and also try to see if they can clear out VIP, making sure that those avenues are clear for later on in the round. Spider does get the first kill on Debray, one of the big gunners from Wichita Wolves. That's going to be a big kill for him, but they do still have to deal with Riot, who's just been kind of driving around his Flores drones, just getting rid of little bits of utility.
Sometimes utility doesn't get much when you're just dying to a lot of bullets. Because without Bry, you lose a lot of your fragging power, and it's going to have to come down to Riot. Yes, can take out a lot of utility, but the yokais probably aren't going to be reached with Rotero. You would hope that the deployable shield would still be there for Skunks, and if not, then maybe there's a small chance that Mystic can really hold down this bakery site. Ex-Wichita Wolves will be denied potential comeback in this 4v5. I think that does start with taking out Skunks inside this VIP Christmas area. Those flashes will indicate that. We're seeing Riot push on up, but the shotgun might be a deadly weapon. Do they spot the player? They don't. Ooh. Skunks does get shot, does get the kill with that. Oh! And the pump shotgun downs JJ through the flash. And the individual playmakers on Mystic Skunky in this scenario are getting the job done.
I mean, Skunky just did the most for his team, just hold down VIP all by himself. Really, this entire attack from Wichita Wolves has just completely fallen apart. They've not been able to find a single kill onto anybody. They don't look like they have a clear idea of how to clear out these positions, and just unfortunately, Bino is just going to have to find basically an exiting frag. Hopefully, can find it onto Skunks, but he's going to be quickly pincered upon. That's going to be a flawless round from Mystic, making sure that this round is actually going to be a lot more decisive for them.
I mean, I think it was a good push towards that white hallway. It was just Skunky. It was built different in that engagement. Able to get the shots through the flash grenade, which, I mean, considering how the hallway is built, how the peak was initially going to happen, it seemed inevitable, but still, nonetheless, a very good play. As Mystic, they have to go back up to that bar area, and I mean, they have to go through the entire cycle again? There's really not much confidence. Do you believe in Mystic to get that 3-round comeback and send us to overtime?
Well, it's really tough because they have these setups to actually do it. They just haven't really been following through. They have, like, I think, really good setups. They just haven't really been executing them that well throughout this game. And I think it really just comes down to the coordination and just team play overall. I think they're just slightly one step away from being with each other. And just that a little bit of coordination is kind of hindering them throughout these rounds. Looked a lot better in that previous round, but it's going to really have to come down to, can you help your roamers on the bottom floor? Because you didn't do that last time. You gave away all that control over to Wichita Wolves and lost so many bodies for it.
How many changes coming out on the defensive side? You still see the Solus, which has been impactful on when Ex-Wichita Wolves brought her out, when Mystic brought her out. There's been a lot of denial of information, actually useful information that is communicated to the rest of the team. But one difference is they are bringing out the Mozzie on Skunky, which, I mean, maybe drones or they're really just wanting to cosplay the anti-drone link. Cut off all the information that the attack could potentially get. Vino has to be careful. Kirk actually goes for the run out. Can't get the kill as the P90. The P stands for P shooter, but doing almost lethal damage to JJ might be worth it in the end.
Oh, that is just, unfortunately, just didn't do enough damage to kill JJ on the rappel. That could have been such a big pick of the lone hard breacher for Wichita Wolves. So just unfortunately, just missed out on that one opportunity, but it is going to scare the bejesus out of him, and he's just going to rotate on over. Focus more on red as Inky. He's just been holding it down all by himself, already wasting one smoke grenade, but they do know exactly where he is. They're just going to send in nades to try to clear him out, but I don't think that went far enough.
No, still there, still surviving. Actually is going to back off, gets taken out by Riot on the skyline. So there is an entry that Ex-Wichita Wolves can use, and Team Mystic are going to have to find their kill from somewhere else, and Slinky cannot hold Pixel because the deployable shield was shot out. Big guy wondering if the window jump was worth it, and in the end deciding up against it. As Kirk needed to check if that was an actual drone or not. It is a drone, so they can kill it out, but Team Mystic are not going to do well up against the flurry of blue that is coming towards them if they do not find a kill soon.
No, they have to find some refrags soon. Spider's getting flashed out. Nothing coming out from Wichita Wolves to pinch them out just yet. But Kiru storms down white. That's going to be the first lead for Wichita Wolves. They have this opening now. All they have to do is just go in and plant. The 4v1 essentially as Kirk goes down. All up the Skunks, and he's just taken out by Riot on the other side of the map, and that's going to be a 7-3 victory for Wichita Wolves.
The same scoreline for Team Mystic as their previous loss. Now they get to head down. It sounds like it's a good thing. It is not. They are on the chance of being eliminated. They will play a best of 3. Don't know who, but they will play a best of 3 to see if they continue on in SFCL. Meanwhile, Ex-Wichita Wolves, they're 1-1. They will continue to play in the next round to see if they get the chance at going to the playoff or getting eliminated. So their fate is safe for the time being, but Mystic is still a lot of worry for them in that first match, in the second match now. And you have to be, the confidence has to be a little bit cracked from the outside in looking at Team Mystic.
I mean, hopefully they realize their mistakes, and they should be relatively easy to fix. It's just a matter of, can you fix it in time before you're eliminated? You only have one more opportunity to stay alive. Otherwise, that's it. Your chances are done this season. So just hopefully they can bounce back after whoever they have to face in the lower bracket final. So it's just going to have to be whoever they face, it's going to have to be, and they fix these mistakes in time.
You're seeing the replays, and honestly, with Bry and Riot by your side, it was really hard to not get the job done in the end. Both of them put up double digits by the end of the game. They were always getting a lot of these entries, and even though entries weren't super consistent, I think the one thing with Ex-Wichita Wolves is they were always able to get those trades. That seemed to be a trend of this entire match, is that trades happened on both sides, but it was always Ex-Wichita Wolves getting that lead, not having to trade back. They were always the ones to initiate them, and that was the struggle that Team Mystic just unfortunately had. That was a memory of their first match.
Yeah, I mean, it's just really good comeback from Wichita Wolves. So for now, we're just going to wait it out until we get our interview ready. But I will say, Wichita Wolves look so much better than they did in that first game. They kind of made a little bit of mistakes early on in that game against Make-A-Wish. Fixed it a lot better, at least on their defensive side, just making sure that they didn't go down so early on and make it so difficult for them to have to come back, especially since it was a 5-2 that they had to come back from. So very nice from them to fix their mistakes very quickly and just kind of come back and win a very decisive map against Mystic.
I think Ex-Wichita Wolves are a late round playoff threat. You do not pay attention to them, they will tear you apart. Speaking of tearing teams apart, you are going to have an interview with the wonderful, magnificent JJ Blast.
Am I live? Am I
Yes,
live?
you are live. Yes, you are
Bro,
live,
the
JJ.
college dorm setup with no face cam goes hard, so we on the phone.
Hey, whatever works. I mean, hey, what a decisive victory for you and your team. Honestly, really good bounce back coming from that game against Make a Wish. What was like the big thing that you had to fix going into this game that didn't really work in that first one?
We didn't have to fix anything. Like, we're like one of the best teams in T3, so it doesn't matter. Like, well, I mean, like the Make a Wish game was tough. We always start slow, but they like capitalized on our play early game and took an early lead. We brought it back, clutched up, and then we were in like a 5v2 on 7-7, and we lost it. So it's really on us. So not much of a change really. Just go into the next game, and no offense to Mystic, but they're just not as good individually as the other guys.
Yeah, fair enough. But I mean, honestly, your trade game this entire time for this entire game was super on point. So it just honestly, who is like kind of leading the charge on the information and just letting your fraggers essentially go huge throughout entire game?
I mean, overall, it's probably me. I do the most drone work on getting everyone in early rounds, like on the entries, like Kiro or Bry, whoever gets in quick on a drone. It's usually me. At least on the attack side. On the attack side, I orchestrate pretty much everything for us on what goes down. Obviously, the other guys have like if they see something, they put an input. But
Hmm.
normally on attack, it's pretty much just me, and I think we're probably one of the most coordinated teams in like T2 T3 scene right now.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely showed today. So I mean, that's all the questions I really have. If you want to shout anyone out, now's your opportunity to do so.
Um, Shout out to Whistler. That's my guy. I miss you, dog. Stay up, all right?
All right. Well, good. Congratulations on your victory today. Hope to see you next week, and good luck to you and your team.
Thank you.
I mean, I always love hearing from him. He is one of the biggest personalities in Siege overall. Yes, in counting Pro League as well. But going over these stats, we can see at the top, there are some good stat lines overall for both of these teams. You've got Skunky hopping out with the 80% KOST, 3-0 on the entry. You can kind of look at somebody and say, okay, how did Mystic survive in a lot of these rounds? How are they even able to get 3? You can look at Skunky trying in these early games for this Mystic team. And of course, I mentioned Ride and Braun in those double digits at the top, 11-4, 13-8.
I mean, it's definitely a big stark contrast. Whereas Wichita Wolves have people above 1.0 rating, whereas Big Guy all the way down at the bottom. Not to pick on him too much, but just a 0.34 rating. That's not enough to really keep your team in the game. Just going 0-7 apparently.
Yeah, it happens sometimes. We all have those off days, and you know what? You never want to grill in on somebody just be like, "Oh, you went 0-7. You caused your team to lose." No, it's a game. Sometimes we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Sometimes people just have off days, and you got to
Yeah.
realize that. But unfortunately, 14 Mystic, I mentioned, they head down to the elimination game. They have to play best of 3, and with Ex-Wichita Wolves, they will play more best of 1s to decide where they will go past round 3. But we have one more game in for you tonight. We're going to have that right after the break, so do not go anywhere.